Appalachia, The Voices of Sleeping Birds. Written by Cynthia RYLANT, she's the author, and Barry Moser is the illustrator. Isn't that beautiful? This is a wonderful story about the people of Appalachia, told through the words and images created lovingly by an author and illustrator who grew up there. Appalachia. You see the doggie? In a certain part of the country called Appalachia, you will find dogs named Prince or King living in little towns with names like Coal City and Sally's Backbone. These dogs run free, being country dogs, and their legs are full of muscles from running rabbits up mountains or from following boys who push old bikes against the hill roads they call hollows. These are mostly good dogs and can be trusted. The owners of these dogs who live in Appalachia have names like Mamie, Boyd, and Ollie, and they probably have lived in Appalachia all their lives. Many of them were born in coal camps in tiny houses, which stood on poles and on the sides of which you could draw a face with your finger because coal dust had settled on their walls like snow. The owners of these dogs grew up more used to trees than sky, and inside them had the feeling of mystery about the rest of the world. They couldn't see because mountains came up so close to them and blocked their view like a person standing in a doorway. They weren't sure about going beyond these mountains, going until land becomes flat or ocean, and so they stayed where they knew for sure how the sun would come up in the morning and set again at night. The owners of these good dogs work pretty hard. Many of them are coal miners because the mountains in Appalachia are full of coal, which people want. And if you are brave enough to travel 2 miles down into solid, dark earth and get it, somebody will pay you money for your trouble. The men and women who mined the coal probably had fathers and grandfathers who were miners before them. Maybe some thought they didn't have any other choice but to be a miner living in between or on the sides of these mountains and seeing no way to go off and become doctors or teachers and having no wish to become soldiers. Those who do go off, who find some way to become doctors or teachers, nearly always come back to that part of Appalachia where they grew up. And they're never good at explaining why some will say they had brothers and sisters still here and they missed them. Look at that doggie. Do you like dogs? But most will shake their heads and have a look on their faces like the look you see on dogs who wander home after being lost for a couple of weeks and who search out the corner of the yard they knew they had to find again before they could get a good sleep. Those who don't live in Appalachia and don't understand it sometimes make the mistake of calling these people hillbillies. It isn't a good word for them. They probably would prefer Appalachians. Like anyone else, they're sensitive about words. Words are important. The houses in Appalachia are as different as houses anywhere. Well, some are wood, and stone, or they're brick. Some have real flowers in pots on the porch, and some have plastic ones. Some have shiny new cars parked in their driveways, and some have only the parts of old cars parked in theirs. Most have running water inside the house, with sinks in their kitchens, washing machines in their basements, and pretty blue bathrooms. But a few still have no water pipes inside their houses, and they carry their water from an old well or a creek over the hill, and they wash themselves in metal tubs and build themselves in wooden toilets in their backyards, which most of them call outhouses. Inside their homes, you see photographs on the walls, mostly of their children or their families from long ago, and you will see pretty things they have made hanging on these walls. Clocks carved from wood, sometimes in the shape of their state, or wreaths made from corn husk. See, this little Appalachian fella is carrying a pot of water, but he's got his dog beside him. And they're hanging their clothes out on the line. Some will have pictures they bought at the department store when they went into town. In their bedrooms, there are usually 1 or 2 or 3 quilts somebody in the family made. In the winter, these are on the beds, but usually not on top. And in the summer, they stay folded up on the shelves in small dark closets which smell of old wood and mothballs. The good dogs who live in Appalachia are not allowed on these beds, and most of them are not allowed in the house at all. They have their own houses. The kitchens of these houses where Mamie and Boyd or Ollie live almost always smell like fried bacon or chicken, and on top of those stoves, there are little plates of food with leftovers from breakfast or lunch or supper, and you can help yourself to a biscuit and maybe a piece of cornbread crumbled into a glass of buttermilk or some cold fried squash. What you don't eat up, the good dogs outside will get, and they are happiest when it's the sausage gravy no one could finish. Morning in these houses in Appalachia is quiet and full of light, and the mountains out the windows, oh, look new, like God made them just that day. Night in these houses is thick. The mountains wear heavy shawls of fog, and giant moths flap on porch lights, while cars cut through the dark hollows like burrowing moles. If it's Sunday, nearly everyone will go to church. Most of the Appalachians are Baptists, but many are Methodists or Presbyterians, or some are Catholics. If the church is a Baptist church in the country, you can count on people wearing their good clothes. Women in dresses, men in suits and ties, and babies dressed up like pictures. There will be a lot of singing in that church, and maybe some crying for joy. After the service, people will linger in the yard talking till the women say it's time to eat. And they will go home and sit around a table spread with potatoes and beans and meat and good hot coffee or sweet iced tea. And they will eat until they can eat no more, except for that piece of lemon pound cake they saved some room for. Sunday afternoon, they'll go to the houses of their relatives to visit, and will sit around the kitchen table again, talking, or go to the front porch. Might do a little work for their mothers who live alone, carrying a big box to the shed for her, or taking care of the nest of bees, hiding near her basement door. Sunday night, some of them will go to church again. In the summer, many of the women like to can. Do you know what canning is? It seems their season. They sit on a kitchen chair on back porches and they talk of their lives while they snap beans or cut up cucumbers for pickling. It's a good way for them to catch up on things and to have time together alone, for neither the children nor the men come around much when there is canning going on. In the winter, many of the men like to hunt, and this seems their season. They take off and into the woods, their good dogs running ahead of them. And they hunt rabbit and sometimes deer, and they talk about things and feel happy and free. And if they shoot something, they bring it back home, skin it and cut it up, put it in the freezer to cook and eat later. The children love all the seasons. They go down by the creek or into the woods or up the dirt road, and they're good dogs with their good dogs. And they feel more important than anything else in these Appalachian mountains, and probably they think often of God. Since they know the clouds and trees better than anyone, they have seen what God can do. In summer, if you walk the roads, you will smell, honeysuckle and the colors of cows and the odors of the cows that get that gritty aroma, dirt roads. And the mountains send up your nose. The dogs will have a different smell every day. The men and women and children who live in Appalachia have no sourness about them, and though they are shy toward others, they will wave to you if you drive by in your car, whether they know your face or not. Most would probably rather not meet anyone new, but once they are used to you, you will find them bringing you bags of tomatoes from their gardens and sometimes a cherry cobbler. Most of them are thinkers because these mountains inspire that, but they could never find the words to tell you of these thoughts they have. They talk to you of their corn or their cows instead, and they keep their thoughts to themselves. When they die, they will want the preacher at their church to say the words at their funeral, and they will want to be buried in Appalachia. In the Appalachian Mountains with their families, they will want someone to put flowers on their graves on Memorial Day. While they are living, they will look forward to spring so they can go to the Southern States store and buy packages of seeds to plant. And they will look forward to summer so they can work outside among the sunflowers, repairing their fences. And they will look forward to fall so they can rock on their porches and stare toward shimmering, painted mountains. And they will look forward to winter so they can build their fires and watch the hollows fill up with snow, safe till the next year. Begins prince or king running the mountains like all good dogs in Appalachia. I love this story, and it makes me want to be outside and get to know Appalachia better, or just the neighborhood I live in, and play in the dirt and plant seeds. My name is Marcy Maurer Nunnery, and I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and I am a part of the Pajama Reading Virtual Program. Have a great day. Bye.